wanting to appoint somebody to oversee a certain part of their studies and what it attempted to do to Harvard. But you're talking about institutions, one, that are not only just PWIs, predominantly white institutions, you're talking about institutions that have billion-dollar endowments and things along those lines. And then when the attack comes to HBCUs, okay, well, now you can go with them a little bit different because, yes, you can mess with the money, but now you can kind of strong arm and start to put people in place who literally can shape the direction of the school. And we all went to college, and college is really is supposed to be about that freedom of thought, freedom of inquiry, freedom to experiment and try to just find yourself in the midst of a ecosystem of a whole bunch of other confused 18, 19, and 20-year olds. And for hundreds of years, the experiment has worked more times than it hasn't. But it's so dangerous to what's happening, and we can't just think that this just is a FAMU thing. I think we got to see it for what it represents, and it's something that we all have to once again building off the last segment. We can't just sit on the sidelines and until it touches us personally, then we react.
Kev.
Is this a time for I told you so? Is this my
Yes, it
this
is.
is this is
Please
my shot
remind the
for I
audience.
told you so?
Please remind the audience.
So in when the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, the first thing I said is they coming after black colleges. And I said, and I pointed out Florida A&M in particular. And people thought I was crazy. People like, yo, what are you talking about? And as I continued to watch it, I knew it was coming. You cannot say that you hate um woke ideology, that you hate woke teaching, that you're opposed to teaching about slavery, that it makes certain communities feel bad if we bring up these things. You're not going to say that we're changing things, what we're calling slaves workers in certain history books and test books, and doing these things and removing these books. You can't be against those things and allow a HBCU to exist. They're opposed to each other. They're they're opposed. You got to go after. I called it. I knew it was coming, and we knew how DeSantis gets down. Florida is the right place for it.
And he still wants to be president.
And and if people think I'm crazy, it's not going to happen. Florida A&M is probably top 5 biggest HBCUs in the country. I want you to think about West Virginia State University, that HBCU that was created in the 1860s. You know why you don't think of it as a HBCU? Because it's like 70% white. You don't even know about it. No one talks about West Virginia State University because it's an HBCU that is majority white. It can happen.
Yeah. I This thing has me all types of concerned. Uh I was confused when Trump was signing his executive orders about historically black colleges a few weeks ago, acting like he was protecting them. But he it's clear he has an agenda. It's clear that DeSantis has an agenda. The president, they went out of their way to increase the salary for this woman. She wanted more than $250,000 more than anyone else. They removed the last president's ability to negotiate her contract as they normally would have. Uh, so it's clear that behind the scenes, Florida power brokers are trying to put her in office.
I'm gonna just go back. It's not behind the scenes. It's in your face.
It's in your face. It's in your face.
Yeah, at this
But
stage.
yeah, but their responsibility is trying to seem like it's behind the scenes, but what they're doing is absolutely in our faces. But the manipulation, I think, they're trying to keep quiet. So the question is, if FAMU falls, what happens to other universities that are tied to states or federal funding. And that's pretty much all schools that are historically black colleges. And then you even have they're going after the universities on reservations, Native American education. And I know that what do they call it, the Latino version of HBCUs?
Yeah, I know.
They're under attack also. So
It's like Hispanic.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So I mean, here's what I'm gonna say. Florida did this once before. They did it. They did it in 22 or 23. They took over. What's the name of the college? The New College of Florida. It's a small liberal arts school that was known as being very liberal. Had a whole bunch of super smart kids in there. Maybe 2,000 students or so. They took over the college. They ran out the president. They got rid of like women's studies or those types of programs. They brought in a whole new board, a new president. They put Chris Rufo on the board. And if you don't know, Chris Rufo is the person that went after not DEI. Well now his scream is DEI. But before DEI, his scream was critical race theory. He was calling everything critical race theory. They've done it before. They did it. They changed the complete ideology of a school in 2 years.
Yeah. Alumni's upset. One of the board members said that the reason he voted for this president was that this will allow the university to have access to corridors of power that they didn't have access to. And it would help them survive in the current climate that exists for HBCUs. Does that have merit? Because when I think about this, I think of how universities protest of Lee Atwater. It's the same type of, other than it's a black woman and a white man, it's the same type of argument all over again.
No, it has no merit. You could say, like, you might be able to argue our reason for protesting, and you are saying that they would have had access to power, but you're talking about access to power that has already voiced their opposition, has acted on their opposition, has attempted to destroy things, and will continue to destroy things. They are not trying to change their ways. They're already out to destroy. So what you are effectively doing is saying, you know what, I'm a ride with the Ku Klux Klan. I'm a ride with the Gestapo. Like, yo, not me. I'm kind of with you. It don't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I just had to ask the question.
I know.
And bring up the.
You're getting Reggie Jackson, man. I'm thinking of all these things. I'm getting hostile. My people being persecuted.
The hostile section is later in the show.
No,
we're almost there. We're almost there.
But it really, I mean, and I'm sitting here now working at a historically black college, being an alum of an historically black college, and you just think about the students, man. I was this week. I was able to spend some time on the campus of Stanford, and was talking to some people that work there, and they were talking about how they've had to address the attack of certain race and ethnic things that were on their campus, from dormitories and things alike. So there's things that's happening that just don't necessarily make the news. And to your point, this notion of those corridors of power. So then it becomes like, if at the end of the day, the HBCU pathway is just to get you to the white systematic oppressive system, then what are we doing? Yeah. Because I mean, Kevin and I, like, yo, we were in the school of business and accounting majors. I don't think you can get more of a white front-facing major back then, when everything was big six. Like, these are the color suits that you wear. Somebody would have pulled me to the side, son, you need to cut your hair. Like, that was the thing. Kev graduated, and then in rebellion, he grew locks down the middle of his back. So Reggie Jacks was born, I think, in tax accounting. So,
and I wanted locks. I wanted locks as
yeah, but it was just like he was like, no, you cannot, you cannot do it. So I just we got to fight for that freedom that you're talking about, and fight for the understanding of what it is that we were called to do. Because you talk about that protest of '89, I mean, you all were a lot closer to the nucleus of it, but so many students that went into that building felt like it was our time to stand for something.
Yeah.
You may not have read all the books and had all the facts. It's like, but it's our time to stand for something. And then the last thing I'll say on that, it was also the perfect time because hip hop was also stirring up our fist and speaking that language. And it's one thing in 2020 to go out there and rock off of Kendrick's "We Gonna Be All Right." But if you think about what we was listening to and partying to in 88 and 89, we had the soundtrack to really make moves.
Yeah. 1989, the number, another song. I mean, I love HBCUs. That's all I know in my family. Like from my parents' generation, my generation, we've graduates. I've got multiple graduates from FAMU, North Carolina A&T, Morris Brown, Fisk, Alabama State, Fayetteville. Like these are just aunts, uncles, cousins. Like that's all we do. And I know for me, like we look at it, HBCU, you wonder why. I was in a majority white school, and I told them I'm going to a black school. I'm going to a black school, and I couldn't articulate well. And they would ask me why I want to go to a black school, and I said, when I go to a party, I want to hear the music I want to listen to. That's the only way I could explain it to them. It was, probably not the best explanation.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great.
I think
works for me.
I think it says culturally, I want to be comfortable with what it says.
I was recruited. I got some recruiting offers to be able to play football. I remember University of Buffalo. I got a recruiting package. I answered the question. They was like, ask me, what do I'm looking for in the school? I wrote black people and sent that back.
You did that at the University of Buffalo?
Yeah. So
wow.
Clearly, the recruiting effort stopped at that point.
Hey man, listen, bro. If you didn't go to a black college, there may not be any. My mic sounds nice, so I am so glad because you needed to come to a school where you could be like, "Yo, why does that kid call himself Ski?" Inside joke.
Inside joke. But yeah, so I just say, the importance. It was great to be in an environment now where any of my shortcomings, I wasn't thinking about, well, is this because I'm black? Is this because I'm, if I'm stupid, I'm just stupid. But I'm not being treated. I'm not stupid because, am I really stupid, or or they're like the black kid is stupid?
Yeah, you wasn't being profiled.
I was not being profiled.
It was accurate.
You know what I'm saying? You get to rise and fall on your merits, and it's a comfortable space, and it's great because you're young at that time, and it gives you this opportunity to grow. That's like the most, like, outside of like early childhood when you're suddenly as a baby taking in all this knowledge and learning. Like, that is a tremendous period of growth, and it's great to remove some of the major obstacles that life has for you as soon as you step off that campus. That is the importance of HBCUs. It builds character, it builds you because you have that moment, and then you go out and conquer.
In spring '89, Kev, the way me and you just tanked after the protest, it was not because we were black.
It was not because we
were dumb.
Straight stupidity.
I don't know what we was thinking.
To Kevin's point, you have to say, when I think about all this, I think, well, what is Trump trying to do? What are these Republicans, what are these MAGA people are trying to do? HBCUs aren't bothering anybody. And then to me, it goes back to the pandemic and George Floyd's death and some of the protests, and you actually saw a social change in America. Some of it was minor, you know, when you're talking about statues and things of that nature, but there clearly was a continued growth in America to look at race in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the powers that be on the MAGA side were like, we are going to have to dismantle this,
Mm-hmm.
and not just a little bit.
Mm-mm.
We're gonna have to go after everything. So we have to set these people back by disrupting their main flow of education, because most black people are going to HBCUs, you know, or if not most, the most successful black people typically are coming out of HBCUs. Let's say that.
We still create the majority of the doctors, engineers.
Yes.
Lawyers.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
So if you want to disrupt, if you want to slow that progress down, HBCUs are where you go.
I mean, to me, I want to separate Trump. I really don't think Trump necessarily hates HBCUs. The people in his orbit do. He is not doing as much of the nasty work as some of the others on the straight up assaults on the education, on the things like, you know, it's the Chris Rufos, it's the DeSantis, it's the was it Maryland? There was some other state where they just Virginia Youngkin, where they just said that AP African American history shouldn't be part of the curriculum, like it doesn't count towards graduation or something to that effect. Like there are people that are out here really doing nasty work, and they're doing the majority of the work. He's a mouthpiece. When he sees dissension, when he sees a thing, he's going to go in and he's going to, you know, squeeze in there and try to make it even better. But he's not really doing the work. And I really want to differentiate. And I really think we need to really go after those people that are doing the work.
Yeah, but I think yes, and Aaron, your thinking is needed because it allows you to start putting things together. Because another thing that Kev, and this was a Reggie Jackson moment, and it adds to the I told you so. We had talked about the attacks on K-12.
Yeah.
And at that time, he was like, yo, don't think it's going to stop at K-12, because for a while, and also to your point, Kev, this actually predates Trump. You know, there's some of that whole banning books and all of those things that was happening, and from one state to another, and so sooner or later college comes. Then you had a lot of the protest that was happening on college campuses, and then if you just look at history, college campuses have really played a major role in sustained resistance and movements throughout our history, like the freedom riders, college students, sit-ins, college students. So
Vietnam
protests. That, I mean, the same way you can talk about the role that the church played, you would have to say just as much, and in some instances even more pivotal, the role that colleges played. And
the Arab Spring.
Yeah, so if you want to
Tiananmen Square.
So if you want to dismantle and really impact change for generations, start attacking education.
Yeah, and they're gonna come for your issue. Like if you go back, even like within the times that we can remember, what was the fight between evolution and creation?
Yes,
right? There was those fights in the late 90s, early 2000s that didn't work. Tighten it up. Critical race theory. They get some movement with there. Next, now we ban books. Get some movement with there. So like it's going to, if it's not hitting your issue now, you know, they're just going after the lowest rung. Eventually, it's going to get to the thing that you care about, and then it's going to be too late if you keep turning your back. Like
And by the time it gets to your issue, it became a steamroller when you could have addressed it when it was a scooter.
Yeah, and then you turn around like, where's anybody to help me? And we've all been taken out.
Yeah, and you like, oh, wait, they didn't came to my neighborhood. Like, oh my goodness, like
Yeah.
they came to the nice homes in the streets. So
Yeah.
we gonna stay focused and keep our eyes on that. And speaking of uncertainties, life, balls bouncing, the NBA playoffs. What's going on? What's good?
What's good?
No bias.
No bias.
It says
it
says go Knicks like they're
analytical analysis.
It says go Knicks like they're playing by themselves. But
I mean, so now it's time to talk about the NBA. I mean, the Knicks. And I think there are some other teams that are playing. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead, A. You the big Knick fan,
bro. Last night the
DJ saved my life.
Yo, why was that song in my head?
Knicks ran the Boston Celtics off the court. Knicks are playing with house money, fellas. I don't care if we lose to Indiana. We wasn't supposed to beat Boston. Nobody gave us a shot I gave us a shot, but I was the only one. I was the only one that thought those 20 games, because I watched all 82 games this year. Kev knows. Kev, I'd be like, don't tell me. I ain't see the game yet.
Yeah, he's the only guy I know that will watch the replay after the game.
Wow.
So
goodness.
I knew in those games the Knicks were not playing well in them. So it wasn't that, Boston was 20 points better than them. They weren't. The Knicks played bad in big games for a myriad of reasons. Do I think Boston? I think Boston was better than the Knicks when it comes to offensive flow. But when it came to a tight game, the Knicks were the better team. When it came to crunch time, when it came to having a closer, the Knicks had the better closer. And that won them the series. I think Indiana is a tough out. I couldn't believe what they did to Cleveland. We're going to see with Denver and OKC on Sunday.
I think that's today.
No, it's Sunday. It's tomorrow.
Sunday? Oh, okay.
Tomorrow at 3:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's WNBA.
The Timberwolves. Could you imagine a Knicks finals going against
I was saying
DiVincenzo and my man Julius?
I was thinking you could get Randall against Cat.
Oh my goodness! Wouldn't that'd be crazy?
I mean,
but New York City was jumping. 7th Avenue was jumping last night, hours after the game.
I know the NBA for conspiracy theories. I know the NBA definitely for the teams that are left. They definitely want New York in there because you got everything is small market.
Yep.
Yeah, I was thinking about that right now. That and especially if OKC wins, because at least with Denver, Jokic is an international star. I mean, like right now we're just building off what you're saying from a rating standpoint.
Yeah.
Jokic is worldwide, and Denver is a champion. So even though it's a smaller market, but
you're gonna get international eyes.
You're gonna get international eyes. If you get a Final Four of Indiana, New York, OKC, and Minnesota, yeah.
Like if you had OKC, Cleveland.
Forget that. Right now, if you have Indiana versus Minnesota in the finals, the NBA is gonna have a heart attack and die.
Yeah.
Nobody. Minnesota versus Indiana in the finals.
All the skews.
Yeah.
The skews. So many
skews.
Woo. Yeah.
That would be ooh. And I'll tell you, I thought the NBA was helping out the Celtics in Game 5, man. Jalen Brunson fouling out, I'm like, yo, they definitely blowing the whistle.
Yeah, I felt like they were blowing the whistle a lot last night. They
I'm
was
gonna say-
calling, like they weren't calling it like the playoffs had been rough and tough.
Yeah.
And
All
last
that
night,
was over.
last night it was like regular season whistles. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
when do we switch back?
I mean, Jaylen Brown fouled out by the third quarter. I mean,
Which
he was.
was nuts.
Yeah, you
Was
knew
that
when
the
he-
end of the game? Was that the end of the game when he fouled out?
Yeah, he was the only person bringing it.
He was the only person, yeah, because all of them, the White and then the other guy who came off the bench, like everybody that lit it up for Game 5, they did not travel.
And you know, Porzingis, or whatever is ailing Porzingis, I hope he gets better after the season. But you know what?
Well, it is after the season for him now.
I never
Going
liked
fishing.
Porzingis, and I'm still to this day going down for he had one great year, and that was last year.
Yeah.
He bombed out in Dallas. He had a year in Washington. That's how bad it was. They shipped him off to Washington. Everybody forgets about that year.
Yeah, that's right. He did. He was down here. But I think also, if you're looking at this playoffs, there's been some major injuries.
Yes.
That
Shout out to Jason Tatum. I'm
that
not a
have-
Celtic fan, but that hurt me.
Yeah.
that really impacted. I mean, you know, because then you're looking at last night's game and you're like, all right, is Jason Tatum 38 points different? You know,
Yeah.
probably not. But that's there. When Steph Curry went down,
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
for the Timberwolves, the Warriors just became shark bait.
It's crazy how with Steph Curry, you really started to wonder with him and Jimmy Butler, like, yo, could they win another one? Could they?
Yeah.
And then once he's gone, it's like,
It's just interesting because then you start between. It's like, so you got the injuries on one side, and then if Denver wins tomorrow, you will have the first and second seeds from the East and the West both being knocked out before the finals, before the West and
Probably
Eastern
unheard
Conference.
of.
It actually happened in 2021.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I looked.
Was that the
That was
COVID year?
when Milwaukee beat Atlanta to go to the finals, and whoever they ended up playing in the West, and they won. But it's also, but this year, to me, what stands out different is you had Cleveland and OKC as your number one seeds, kind of running away with it. I mean, Cleveland pretty much had the number one seed in the East locked up.
yeah.
Like
In
I was
December.
about to say, we were still watching football. Like we weren't even talking about the NBA on our podcast. And Cleveland had it.
Yeah.
And in the West, OKC was running away with it. And then you had seeds 3 through 8 that was all like maybe 5 games within each other.
Yeah.
So they just kind of began to beat themselves up.
And Cleveland suffered injuries in the playoffs. Cleveland had, Darius Garland was out for games.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell was hurt.
But it also just like to what Aaron was saying, being the one of maybe 6 people who watched all 82 Knicks games. It seemed like the one thing about the Knicks, they seem to have gotten better at the right time.
Yeah.
Indiana, like, I mean, whoever was the people that said Halliburton was the most overrated player in the league.
He's on a revenge tour, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, like between that and his father getting thrown out, he's been like he has been going. And I mean, because this Knicks Indiana series could bring back flashbacks of Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing, and then for us, man, understanding like the last time the Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals, man, we was in our 30s.
Yeah.
Like, just to put it in perspective, like, like think about it. Because and then last night, the last thing I'll say, I was listening to John Starks, and I thought he said something that I thought was really interesting because all the stars were out. And Nick Royalty was there, and he was saying that what's different from the East and the West was that when the stars come to the Nick games, like they're real fans. Like it's not about it's not about them, and
I
it's
saw
like
that. My wife took offense to that.
I knew I figured she did, but when he said it, I was like, "Oh, is that a shot fired at Jack Nicholson and the crew?"
Because it's true, man. It's true.
Like Timothy Chalamet, the only like all of those stars that are there, Timothy Chalamet, Ben Stiller, Chris Rock, they're there all the time. They're there on a Tuesday in February.
Yeah.
Now Lenny Kravitz, when I saw Lenny Kravitz, I was like, we've gone too far. Lenny Kravitz ain't been to a Nick game all year long. Like, what are you doing here, man?
Hey.
But Marissa Haggerty, she has a routine with Jalen Brunson. He gives her a hug after every Nick loss. Hey. That's how much she's there.
And my wife always says that Spike Lee just makes movies to afford to travel with the Knicks. Like literally, he makes sure his mortgage is paid, and it would be interesting to be his accountant and see how much money he spends on sports.
Yo, honestly,
because he's and he has the perfect understanding wife.
Yeah, she don't even come to the games with him.
Because between it's like between the Knicks and the Yankees. Yeah. Like
I know a guy. I used to supervise this guy that used to work at the Apple store, and the one on Fifth Ave. Spike came in, needed some help. He wound up helping him. Spike was like, "Yo, you cool? Whatever. Exchange numbers. I'm gonna call you if I need some help." Like his own personal genius bar.
Mm-hmm.
Spike wound up taking him to the game.
Stop.
Spike ended up taking him courtside to one of the games.
Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting to see. And I've spent a lot of time in Minnesota. They gonna be turned up. They are going to be turned up. And
so predictions, Tim. Before we go, give me your predictions on who will make it to the finals. We'll address the finals later.
My prediction and also my hope.
Yes.
I want to see Timberwolves next.
Yeah.
I want to see Timberwolves next. I think OKC is maybe a year or two away. But yeah, I want to see Ant. I want to see those two go at it.
Kev.
That's what I want. That's what I want. I want the Timberwolves next. I want our Indiana revenge from last year when we had all the injuries.
Facts.
No one talks about when we talk about it. So we'll see if they talk about it now in the days coming up, leading up to it. But yeah, I think that's great TV. That's great drama. And it's good. It would be great to see a trade that worked out for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see. I think the Knicks are gonna win in 6, not even 7 with Indiana. I think OKC's probably gonna win though against Minnesota, but I agree with Tim. I think they're a year away, so I'm hoping the Knicks could be.
I'm not guaranteeing OKC's getting past Denver.
Now, I saw this morning.
That's a fair point.
I don't want to see Denver.
Aaron Gordon's hurt though.
Or Aaron Gordon is a highly probable not playing because you saw him grabbing that hammy.
Yeah, and
right, there was a hammy, right?
But when it's a hammy,
I was thinking the shoulder.
Shoulders. You could.
That's Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. has been balling with one shoulder. Like he should. The way he hooping sometimes, like he should stay injured. But Aaron Gordon's game, is so athletic as a defender. That if he's hampered by a hammy, that could be a thing. And it's in OKC. So,
I'm mad at the 3:30 start time though. Like, how come that can't be at night?
I think it probably was because the other series ended so fast. Because you think about it, like nobody thought the Pacers were going to win in 5, and then also Golden State losing in 5. So those are bigger games.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Yeah.
Because one of those series should have been having a game tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it allows us to watch the WNBA, so that's cool. We get to support that.
That's true. Yeah.
Will the New York Liberty repeat? Will you have a WNBA and NBA champion from New York? Bring out Jay-Z and Alicia Keys.
You say New York City.
the one thing I was telling my son when for Game 5 in Boston when the Knicks were up early, I said, "Yo, I hope somebody bought a pair of Timbs so they could leave them on
the center court. Just leave them. A fresh pair of butters."
Yeah. It's like that needs to be the New York thing.
But it also does speak to the role that your state of mind plays. You know, they were so amped because of Jason Tatum going down in Game 5. You had people playing out of their mind.
Yeah.
And then also, I believe the Knicks knew we are not going back to Boston for Game 7. Like, we're not going back. And I feel like, you got to give Tom Thibodeau his credit. Yeah. I think there were certain moments where he definitely outcoached Missoula.
You do, and I call for his firing every week.
That's the reason why I was saying it. It's like
every week, and I'm going to be calling for his firing soon. And it's
I know because
he could win the championship, and I'll probably be calling for his firing.
I know.
I like the guy, but one thing I will say: a lot of people make fun of New York Knicks fans. They're like, "Oh, we're irrational. We haven't won in 50 some odd years." And my thing is, we have fun. We have fun. We cheer our teams on. And the fact is, my wife made a joke like, "Yeah, you guys don't even, you haven't won in forever." She's from Oakland, so she got Golden State. But I'm like, yo, but the fact is, we always show up. For these past 50 years, we've been showing up.
Yep.
Regularly.
Yep.
Yeah. The
Golden State was mighty empty. Between Run TMC and Steph Curry.
Yeah,
And then it's like, yo, man, until Golden State really do right by Mark Jackson, it's always an asterisk.
Yeah.
Always an asterisk.
Yep.
Yep. So.
All right. now it's time for the Robinson Report.
Robinson Report.
Things that are giving you life or making Reggie Jackson mad.
Always making
Reggie Jackson. But peace to Takim. Peace to Takim.
Peace to Takim.
So, every show I try and find something that really moves me and something that the people don't know about.
Oh, here come the setup.
This one it's just simple for me, man. I can't lie. The Knicks in Indiana is my Robinson Report. I would be lying about what is gonna give me life for the next 2 weeks. It's the Knicks in Indiana. So I ain't got no special.
There's no book.
Yeah,
there's no documentary. There's no special lesson I learned. There's no herb that gives you elasticity to help you ride for 5 boroughs.
Yep.
It's Game 1 Wednesday night.
You know what? You know what? I applaud that. One thing I didn't say when we talked about the NBA, when my favorite team wins or my hated team, Boston, loses, I go on and I listen to their sports radio station.
Yes. I did it last night.
Odyssey. I do it all the time.
I was on Bill Simmons' podcast all week long, listening to react to losing to the Knicks.
It's great listening to Boston Pain. Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
it's your happiness. You're right.
You up, Tim? What you got, bro?
What has given me life in part is seeing the controversy. It's the trailer for the Marvel series that's going to be on Disney for Ironheart, which is the young black girl who was in Wakanda Forever, being mentored, and the fact that people are up in arms because a hero that is a fictional character is black.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, like,
who could imagine such a thing?
Like, to the point where you're attacking reality, and damn, we can't even have fantasy. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, this is a fictional character. So to the point where Marvel, like, everything is just supposed to be white. Every hero is supposed to be white. Every protagonist is supposed to be white. People took issue with Anthony Mackie being Black Captain America, so the movie gets viewed through a different lens. And yeah, so for me, it's given me life, and I may even have to get my Disney subscription to be able to watch it and cancel right afterwards. But yeah, I'm rooting for her, rooting for the series. Ryan Coogler is the director, so I'm rooting for him. So yeah,
that's good. Thank you for that.
Why are you mad?
Why am I mad? So you know what? I'm not a fan. I'm not a reality TV guy, right? I don't watch a lot of reality TV because it just doesn't work for me.
Hey, get the button. We don't want FCC. You know, we don't want FCC.
And you know, Donald Trump. We know Donald Trump. You know, I could get up here. I could talk about Donald Trump, his administration, every day, all day. I could talk about all the things that make me mad. Last night, I come across something which is insanity. Was it Kristi Noem, right? Right, the puppy killer, right? The dog killer, the head of the Homeland Security.
Yes.
So they have this new idea, this new reality show. I'm gonna just read the paragraph. The Department of Homeland Security has been working with writer and producer Rob Warsoff to pitch a reality TV show titled American, where immigrants will compete in a string of challenges across the country for the honor of fast-tracking their way to U.S. citizenship.
Stop. You're lying.
No, it's true. It's real.
It's true.
It's real.
They were going to create a reality, what was that? The Race Across America, and gladiator games and Hunger Games, and we might as well decide who's going to get stoned next.
And then they said it sounds like the Hunger Games, but it's not. They had the nerve to say that.
So if you lose, does that slow track your citizenship?
No, it doesn't. It can only enhance you.
It can only enhance you, not harm you.
No.
Okay. I had to ask. I mean, because
it's like making you a slave for your citizenship. Like,
and here's the sad part: the way that they're going to cook the books and make the numbers so difficult. It's hard if you had the opportunity to not want to take that opportunity.
Yeah. So I wonder how you get selected. Like, do you audition?
That show will never make it to air. I hope people step in and say,
"My man,
no.
Are you kidding me? The OAN network and them other networks, Fox networks, it could make it to air."
No, I'm just saying. I hope
there's venues for it.
Well, no, I know. I'm just hoping inside the government somebody.
On May 17th, 2025, we are split between it may make it to air and it won't make it to air.
Ridiculousness.
We'll let you know.
Who's going to stop it? There's nobody in the government. There's not a Republican alive that's going to be like, you know what? This is a bad idea. Out of all the other stuff they're doing, you think they're going to think this is a bad idea?
Yeah.
All right, fellas.
$400 million plane.
Woo.
All right, man. Good show. This is Tim. My mic sounds nice. Until next time, go Knicks, go Wolves. We want to see it happen. Well, I want to see it happen. So, till next time.
My mic sounds nice. This is Kev, aka Reggie Jacks, coming from the Bronx. We happy in New York about our Knicks. Let's go.
My mic sounds nice. This is A. We definitely happy about the Knicks. Mike Breen, who said, "Oh, the Knicks are getting all excited for the winning the second round. You ain't done nothing." That wasn't why the Knicks fans were excited. They were excited because they beat the Boston Celtics, who they were predicted to get swept by.
Yeah.
So get the facts straight, Mike Breen.
Yeah,
that's why
crazy.
we were happy.
And we hate Boston.
And we hate Boston.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. Division rivals.
Word up. All right, fellas.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right. Have a good one, y'all. Peace.
Kev.
You stopped the recording?
Huh?
You stopped the recording?
Yeah.
No, it says it's still recording.